What's up, people? Nat Black Kevin back here with another vlog on Why It's So Social, and today we're going to be looking at non-verbal communication. Now, I know some of you guys are probably thinking about, well, how can you communicate when you're not being verbal? That doesn't make any sense. But actually, when you look at in today's day and age, today's social media world, non-verbal communication takes place all over the place. Basically, it takes place every single day. You might do it yourself that you don't even know you're doing it. And looking at how it's grown into how we utilize it now, again, I said that we don't even know we're using it sometimes. So the importance of it and factors that have took it to this level, and actually why essentially we don't need or require that, verbal communication no more. Because when you look at, back in the day, you could even say as little as 5 years ago, 10 years ago, where it was all about verbal communication. Even if we had our mobile phones, we're still on the phone and we were talking to people. We're saying, yo, what's going on, Jero? How's it going? Do you know what I mean? Like talking on the phone. But now, we don't necessarily need that verbal communication. Of course, a lot of us communicate nowadays via WhatsApp or text message. WhatsApp, we have our groups, and that we're actually being verbal in that. But when we take a step back and look at the even newer school, let's look at, for example, the way people use Snapchat nowadays. Now, it wasn't too long ago, I read an article about this young American girl who, before she went to bed every day, she would take a selfie, do the duck face, be that. She'd take that selfie, she sent it to all of her friends, right? And in the morning, she would have replies back from her friends, and she would reply to each of those replies from her friends with another selfie. And she was explaining about how that's a form of communication and acknowledgement with her friends that, hey, we're still here, we're doing our thing. Do you know what I mean? She said she does that quite a bit, not actually using words, but gauging emotions and gauging feelings just by not saying anything. Or when we look at the adaptations of emojis now, you can almost find an emoji for every single thing, right? Let's take, for example, my mum's gone away and she's like, how are you, son? I can just reply with a smiley face and a thumbs up, like what we do. We don't need to use that actual verbal communication to tell people how we are anymore, or to interact on that kind of a level. And it's looking at how social media has developed in such a way to allow young people and people like, it doesn't matter, to communicate on that level where you still have some sort of meaningful and thoughtful conversation. Now, when we look at how the use of more popular social media formats have been delivered, or they're delivered via your peer groups. I'm going to take memes for an example. Now, me, myself, I get tagged in memes every single day. Hilarious memes about whatever. I tag other people in them. And essentially, the people I'm tagging, we are interacting through tagging of memes. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I can tag my mate Ryan in a meme, and we will go back and forth looking at other memes and tagging and having a joke with each other. Now that is exactly the same, in my opinion, of calling Ryan and saying, knock knock, who's there? Pizza pepperoni, or whatever, some idiot thing, yeah? Like, we can have jokes just like that on the phone, but via memes, you know what I'm saying? But it's now a much faster and quicker way just to acknowledge and tell someone that you're still there for them. We don't need to have that sense of verbal communication anymore. We just don't. It went from talking to someone and saying, okay, Jane, I'm going to meet you at King's Cross Station at 6 o'clock outside M&S. Make sure you're there. Like, we used to go talking to someone like that. Jane would say, okay. Then it went to a phone, and we used to do it over the phone. Then it went to WhatsApp, and we used to do it on WhatsApp. And we still do. But now it's going to take it to a level. And I don't know how social media is going to develop or whatever. But there is going to be a level where essentially we're not going to actually require written words anymore, or speaking anymore. I mentioned in a vlog not too long ago about, well, our children's will require intimate human companionship. And the answer I necessarily came to was, I don't think they will. And I gave an example that the way technology is developing, who's to say that years down the line, little Johnny and little Jimmy may be like, do you want to come out to play or whatnot? You want to come out to play in a park in 30 minutes or whatever. That's how it is now. Later it will be, I'm bored, Jimmy. Can you play with me? And Johnny's like, yeah, give me 30 minutes. I'm just gonna set up my hologram device. What do you want to play? A bit of badminton. And Jimmy's like, yeah, let's play some badminton. And they set up their hologram devices. And there's a hologram of Jimmy and a hologram of Johnny, and they're playing badminton on their. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are already going in that direction. Look at VR. Look at augmented reality. And that again is a form. You don't necessarily need to be there to have that sense of communication. Now, of course, you're playing and you're talking. Okay, that's kind of a different story. But it's along the same lines of non-verbal communication with one another. Now, I know verbal is different from written, but in my sense, it's all one and the same. So right now, of course, we don't do much verbal communication as it is with the power of text messaging and WhatsApp, and that's kind of what I'm saying. But further down the line, will we actually need to use words or use text to actually communicate with each other? We're tagging people in a lot of stuff now that says what we want to say. We might be able to tag people in a lot of stuff further down the line that says that we can hold full conversations with people. So that's what I thought a thought-provoking vlog from today. So again, thank you for listening, and Why So Social, the documentary coming soon, and peace out to you. Take it easy.